Hasanuddin. I will present the introduction of the hierarchy Maslow. The hierarchy was made by the Abraham Maslow to measure psychologists or people motivation. The hierarchy was divided by the 5 components, that is, first, psychological, second, safety, third, love, fourth, esteem, and lastly, self-actualization. For the introduction for Henry Fayol theory, Henry Fayol is claimed to be the real father of the modern management. He developed some technique, 14 basic management principles, which he could be used in all management situations. And the theoretical equation between Henry Fayol and Abraham Maslow have two, I call it. First, remuneration and esteem. The worker getting paid based on their work and status, so they are motivated to work again with the same for next time. This will give the motivation to the worker to work hard for next time. Second, authority and self-actualization. Some employees feel fulfilled when getting some authority to give authorities to direct other worker. This can guarantee the job position for the employee. Introduction of the Max Weber. Max Weber, who known as a Max Weber was known as a bureaucratic theory of Max Weber theory. Max Weber believed the bureaucratic was better than the traditional structure. In the organization, everyone is treated equal, and the division of the labor is clearly described for each employee. And theoretical equation between Max Weber and Abraham Maslow, I got two. First, career orientation and safety net. The job of employee being protected by the system that make the upper department cannot abruptly dismiss the employment. This will help the employment to work peacefully. Second, formal selection esteem. The employment get promotion because the hard working and high quality of production will make the employment motivation increase, and they will stay on organization for a long time. Thank you.
Next, for the advantage and disadvantage of Maslow's needs hierarchy in Henry Fayol. As we know, Henry Fayol's purpose is divides management into 5 functions, namely planning, organizing, directing, coordination, and control. Every 5 function this can be related with theory hierarchy, which is a 5 level that Hasanuddin told yet. For the advantage, there is 3 advantage. First, reward. Reward is something that is given or received as a reward for the service. In theory of Henry Fayol, there is a principle on the basis management such as reward to the employee. In this needed, manager should give or provide reward or wage to the employees so that they can get basic needs. For a reward example, manager in boutique company will give commission to their workers if the workers achieve the target. For the second advantage is safety and security. Safety, which is about safe, well-being, and security. Then security can also be categorized as a physical, social, and mental protection. According to the Henry Fayol, every company manager need to make sure that all the equipment and workers are in the right place and safe at the right time to facilitate movement. In this theory, manager need to ensure that their employees in safe environment and clean. All the employees need a good health and good employment. And last, for the advantage is social needs. Social needs the desire of the individual to be accepted and treated fairly by each group of people for the sake of good friendship through social interaction. Every manager in the company needs to ensure that all the employees has a good interaction each other. For example, manager need to ensure that the distribution of tasks is fair and organized to avoid conflict or misunderstanding. Then, manager need to treat each of their employees fairly to create loyalty to the organization. For the disadvantage, first, centralization. Centralization, which is a decision making, is up to top management to maximize the use of staff appetite or efficient. In theory, Henry Fayol, they have make it centralization as one of the management that needs to follow. For example, managers should give opportunity to their employees to show their ability to operate the company and give some ideas for the company. Although there are some ideas that we do not need to take, but listening to their idea is more better. So centralization is not suitable with Maslow needs hierarchy, which is in self-esteem. For the second disadvantage is increase in managers' work. In theory, Henry Fayol, they use the union command and the direction of the union. They use this step because they want to minimize the manager's work. But in Maslow need hierarchy, manager need to follow the level hierarchy to fulfill the employee's need. For example, if the manager won't take care about the hierarchy needs to their employee, it can be effect to the company, such as the company did not focus to the vision and mission that they have created for the company, but manager in the company need to focus at the level of theory hierarchy Maslow to fulfill their needed of employees.
Advantage of Max Weber. First, accountability. Accountability is an identity in bureaucracy. One of the factors that cause an organization to choose this bureaucracy structure is to identify more accurate responsibility in the decision-making process. This is what causes the government's organization needs this bureaucracy structure, as the responsibility of the decision-making process is inserted in the other organizational theory models. The theories may also better fill the requirements of flexible work and productivity, but an organization that requires high responsibility in making decisions, bureaucracy is a more practical choice, as social needs in Maslow's theory are the human need for love and a sense of belonging. Next, job preparation. Weber supports the idea presented by Frederick W. Taylor that in order to ensure organizational efficiency, job preparation must be based on the eligibility for job placement within the organization. In this regard, it is customary in the field of social services that an employee be given positions in the organization based on the professional education they receive, in addition to the experience they have had over a period of time. The decision of the job placement should also be a workable preparation rather than a data-driven, purely descriptive one, such as the need for self-interest in Maslow theory, which is related to the need to achieve one's self-worth according to the potential of a human being. Last, hierarchy and definition of responsibility. Hierarchy and definitions of responsibility are important features of the bureaucracy in assisting the organization of the workplace with regard to the needs of the self in Maslow theory, where it is necessary to achieve one's own aspirations according to the potential of an employee. The principal sketch of all tasks should be clear and should be structured in a hierarchical manner. Disadvantage of Max Weber. First, inefficiency. While the main aim of bureaucratic theory is to achieve organizational efficiency, there are also negative consequences that arise indirectly in this bureaucratic principle. This opinion was borne out by Robert Merton 1957, who is criticized Weber's bureaucratic theory. Merton introduced the concept of trained incompetence, which refers to employees who focus only on what they are interested in doing their work and who often lose the ability to hear and understand the problems and needs of consumers or people using services of the organizations. The bureaucracy is seen as having little success adapting the application of knowledge and skills that are an integral part of professional practice. Kettner 2002, such as the need for self-interest in Maslow theory, which is related to the need to achieve one's own aspiration according to the potential of a human being employees. Next, red tape. This term refers to an overly bureaucratic rule that causes delays in any business or process. According to the Weber bureaucratic structure provided by Ed Zioni in his book, the logging system needed to record all actions, decisions, and regulations in the administration. This rule that actually causes red tape because it causes the process of documentation to slow down. Such rules are seen to serve useless purpose and are often misinterpreted by term red tape. An example to illustrate the problem of red tape here is that an individual wants to get welfare service from an agency really deserve help. The individual is required to prepare documents, make appointments with the parties, travel upstreams and downstreams, and eventually, in the long term, until the individual's application is approved and the welfare assistance relate to the physiological needs of the Maslow theory part, which is the most basic needs. This needs is essential to any organism, let alone human. Last, does not take into account human factors. This problem arises because bureaucratic organizations place too much emphasis on the principle of orientation in their tasks without being influenced by feelings. All employees need to feel they are needed and have their own role within the organization. This situation will cause dissatisfaction with the poorly performing subordinates, and this may affect their performance as they are underappreciated. In other words, bureaucratic theory does not take into account workers' feeling and emotion, and this is what is referred to as a lack of attention to human factors. Weber dismissed this as provoking to criticism of the failure to appreciate the bureaucratic importance of ignoring the feelings and increasing importance of human factors.
Our view of Max Weber, Henry Fayol in Maslow need hierarchy. First, our views on Maslow hierarchy in the context of today in terms of psychological needs, while the Max Weber theory of equality in the provisions of services and also to Henry Fayol theory of equality to treat employees fairly and equitably. For example, managers provide services and need to their employees fairly, such as providing a home so they can stay safe and comfortable. In the context of the Maslow hierarchy, theory also managers or employers reward employees with high commitment to work. For example, employers offer bonus to employees who can improve their work. As a result, this theory is relevant today as workers need reward to meet every basic need. Our second view of the Maslow hierarchy is into the context is some self-fulfillment needs. Requirements of recognition are those in which an employee is given a position or status for a given business. For Henry Fayol, theory is a well-established principle in which the right worker is placed in the right room. As for Max Weber theory, it has the right job description according to the qualifications and skills it has. For example, managers provide CEO jobs for their employees because of their expertise in managing the company. As a result, this theory is very relevant to use today so that workers can work in the right units according to their skills. Finally, view of the Maslow hierarchy is into the context in terms of social needs. This is because the desire of the public to be accepted by the masses on Max Weber theory is that the divisions and specializations of work will exchange the skill or commitment of an employer. Not only that, Henry Fayol theory of divisions of labor. This is because each employer performs specific tasks or tasks to exchange the efficiency and productivity of the work. For examples, employers need to distribute their work fairly and fairly so that there is no conflict and confusion among other workers. As a result, this theory is relevant to the common interests of employers and workers. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to present to you about the example of Henry Fayol's theory in hierarchy Maslow. First of all is planning, which is examining of the future and laying out steps and action to be taken. For example, to find out what was being done at grocery store every day, and from there, someone had to plan the kind of goals that they want to achieve. Secondly is organizing, which is lays the line of authority and responsibility. For example, to organize meeting with the staff to discuss way to manage the store more efficiently and also to delegate various tasks to specific employees. The third Henry Fayol theory in hierarchy Maslow is coordinating, which is lay out the timing and sequence of activities. For example, gathering information and suggestions from employees, and then coordinate the work's activity to maximize efficiency. The next theory is commanding, which is puts the plan into action. For example, instructing the supervisor to prepare a list of store's activities. Last but not least is controlling, which is monitor the actions of plans. For example, observe the working of the store to see if everything was done according to plan and working in order.
Mike Weber has presented three types of legislative authority. Firstly, traditional authority. Secondly, charisma authority. Third, original legal authority. First, traditional authority is where acceptance of those in authority arises from traditional and custom. Second, charisma authority is where acceptance arises from loyalty to and confidence in the personal quality of the role. Lastly, personal legal authority, where acceptance arrives out of the office, position, and person in authority as burdened by role and procedure of the organization. Weber theory is similar to hierarchy Maslow. Thank you.
In conclude, Maslow's need hierarchy is most commonly illustrated as a five-level hierarchical pyramid. However, the hierarchical pyramid most recent representations have 7 or 8 levels. The pyramid lowest level are the most basic needs, include the need for food, water, sleep, and heat. Once this lower level standard has been met, pupils will be able to move to the next level of safety and security need. When pupils move up the hierarchy, the psychological and social needs are rising. Yearly, it becomes essential to need affection, friendships, and intimacy. Higher up the pyramid, there is a need for self-confidence and a sense of achievement, whereas the most specific needs are the top of the pyramid. From this, we know that the patriarchal theory of Maslow emphasizes that each human being is born with certain needs that we allow one to develop and attain perfection. In management, Maslow theory is very influential. Thank you.